Guys, I need to wake up. I need to wake up. I've been playing Black Ops 4 till far too late in the night, and I try to wake up at a normal time. My fiance, she goes off to work at like 8 a.m. So I try to get up, go to the gym, come home, do some videos, do some work, and honestly, trying to do that while keeping up with the Black Ops 4 scene and keeping up with playing the game as much as I physically actually can is taking a toll on your boy. I'm very, very tired, but today we are indeed actually going to talk about Black Ops 4. We're going to talk about what I think should be the competitive rule set. Now, I did make a video on this before the game came out and based off the beta. Now we've had a decent enough time, just about a week, to get our hands on the game. I've got a pretty good idea of what I think it'll be and what I would like to see. First and foremost, let's go through the game modes. Now, we know CTF is not in the game. It has to be control to go in. That seems to be the idea. That seems to be probably what's going to happen. So I expect to see Hardpoint, S&D, Control, Hardpoint, S&D to be our best out of 5 rule sets. And obviously there'll be only 3 of those played in the best out of 3. Now, we'll go through each game mode and I'll say its positives and negatives. Let's start with Hardpoint. I mentioned this before, but I still want to see a respawn delay in there. Something like 2.5 seconds will slow the game down significantly. And I think it does need to be slowed down because realistically, from an outside perspective, and I've made this argument before, if somebody who's not really watched COD too much before starts watching and really hasn't got a clue what's going on, it's a difficult game mode to follow. So if you slow that down, there's not as many kills and engagements. It makes it a lot easier to follow. And I think it could just be a little bit too hectic with 5v5 as well. Players could be headbutting each other in the middle of the map for 10 minutes, basically. And it's not going to make the best game mode to watch. So I think with a respawn delay, it makes your life a lot more precious. It means that you've got to really take your time and think about where you're push as a team to make sure that you're making the right moves at the right time, or you get punished with a pretty decent respawn delay, meaning that the other team got more time to pick up points if you don't break correctly, or, you know, if you hold very, very well, you get more points, so you get rewarded more. So it's a bit more unforgiving of a game mode if you bring a respawn delay in, which I think is just right. I think you should have to take your time and make the right decisions in Hardpoint. In terms of the maps, I haven't really got a good idea yet because the spawns on a lot of them are pretty bad. Hopefully they are being fixed. I know for a fact that Treyarch are looking at them. I know that it's been addressed to them. Hopefully that sees itself be fixed pretty shortly. I think they will be able to. They're just a little bit sensitive now where it's like people are spawning on top of you and that should be happening. They should definitely be spawning away. Just be a little bit more. They're too sensitive right now. They need to be sort of moved away from you. When you're spawning, you shouldn't be ever spawning next to somebody or in somebody's sights. That seems to be one of the problems. The only map I definitely want to see is obviously Slums, of course. The spawns on that one aren't exactly the same as what they were in Black Ops 2, but they're pretty similar, and it's a good hardpoint map, full stop. It's my favorite ever hardpoint map, actually. Like, 100% the best hardpoint map ever. So I'm quite happy to see that one come back in. No problem with that. As far as the other maps, so not 100% sure on which ones would be good so far. Let's talk about Control. So I really like the game mode in terms of publics, but I'm not 100% sure how it's going to run competitive yet because we haven't seen it. We haven't seen any pros be playing it. We haven't seen any competitive games being played, obviously, because the rule set's not out. So I don't have too many concerns about it, but my only concern is that on defense, I think it's going to be significantly easier to win your defenses, and then it's going to come down to just winning your defenses and then go into the final round. And I think is it whoever got the most kills or something like that will get the final round. I don't know if it just swaps, but we don't want that to be a problem. And as I said, this is just seen from an outside perspective. We haven't seen competitive yet, so I could be completely wrong. But I would maybe want to see the kill count have to go up if you're on defense, so you get less lives than what you do on attack. I would like to see attacking teams maybe get 5 to 10 lives extra because it's a lot more difficult to break down those points on some maps, of course. It's all dependent, but I just think that defense from a on paper point of view seems easier. And if that's the case, people are just going to be winning their defenses, and then it's going to come down to whoever got the most kills, who's going to get defense and win the map. I think that's the route we could be going down if there isn't some adjustments put in. But as I said, we haven't seen it competitively yet, so it's hard to argue that quite yet. Search and Destroy, I mean, outside of some of the glitches that we've seen, obviously with score streaks, that sort of thing, then it's been good fun. I played a couple of wages, a couple of GBs, I've enjoyed it. majority of the maps seem pretty viable. Some of them aren't, like the old ones. I think Rayta made a tweet about this, and I totally agree. Summit Sums firing range, for the most part, seem to be the worst ones. I mean, there is others that aren't amazing, but for the most part, as search and destroy maps, the majority of them are pretty decent. I don't like Morocco. I think there's a few too many alleys in that one, but other than that, I'm pretty happy with all the rest of them. I think Contraband's actually not a bad S&D map. I'm trying to think of others, but I mean, most of them are okay, and that's the thing. Hopefully, some bomb sites can maybe be moved around, that sort of thing, with more time played on the game. We've only played a week, so it's hard to get a good base judgment of that, but I think the majority of the maps seem to be pretty good for Search and Destroy. Let's talk about weapons quickly. There's the obvious thing that we want to see an SMG buff. I want to see an ICR nerf. But outside of that, I think there's not much really to talk about. Everyone knows that that's what they want. It's not a case of the ICR only being good in the hands of competitive players. It's literally the best gun in Publix. I see everybody use it, and for the right reasons. It's absolutely phenomenal. And like, my KD is taking a hammering since I'm trying to actually grind for Dark Matter and not use the ICR. When I'm using the ICR, it's an easy 60 kill map every single time, but realistically, if you're using anything else, it's just not as strong. The weapon can do everything. So it needs to see a nerf. We need to see a buff on the SMGs. For me, I think Spitfire, not the Spitfire. Spitfire was on last night. You can watch that video down below. I'll link it somewhere here. But I think it's the SOG is easily the best SMG. But for me, I need to actually see long barrel on that. If we get long barrel on it, I think it makes it a little bit more viable, because right now, if you're any more than a foot away from somebody, it's just not a great gun. Up close and personal, it's amazing, but at any sort of range, it's not amazing. So I do want to see that changed potentially. MX9 and the GKS are good in pubs, but they don't seem to be very good in private. So as I said, SMG buff is needed. In terms of banning weapons, I would say LMG is the only thing that really sort of needs to go. They're very, very strong in Publix, especially. You can literally hold a position and just cut off the angles, and I wouldn't be surprised to see LMGs pushed out. Shotguns aren't that bad, so I'm not going to talk about on them. I've got a little bit of thing about snipers, though. I'm indifferent about this argument. A lot of people are complaining that there's a lot of hit markers going on with snipers and that sort of thing. So yes, okay, there is. But realistically, I think we need to look at it from the point of that this game, the TK, is higher than a regular COD game, of course. If you got a sniper that one-shots, that sort of makes it super, super powerful. So I'm actually all right with it one-shotting people with it not one-shotting people at this moment in time and just getting people weak. Maybe if it didn't allow you to heal, like the high caliber attachment, if you put that on a weapon, or is it high caliber 1 or high caliber 2? One of them. If you put that on a weapon, it doesn't allow people to heal. I think if you get shot with a sniper bullet, you shouldn't maybe be able to heal that or something along those lines. But they keep it away from one shot. But I'm interested to see what Treyarch actually do on this one, because it's an interesting topic that we can maybe delve into at another time. Okay. Oh, and another thing about snipers, the sidearms are actually really good as well, so it makes it a very, very viable class. You can maybe see 2 or 3 people running snipers and search and destroy on the odd occasion. So, I mean, that's not up the question, and for me, that means that I feel like snipers mustn't be that bad if that's the case. Okay, moving on to equipment. I think Bevels made a great point in his tweet that he put out. In Search and Destroy, at this moment in time, equipment is not enabled every single round. So you've got to wait, and it just actually comes down to time with how long your equipment reloads. So if you've got a stun or a grenade or a trophy system, you have to wait for that to load up. Now, teams could now just actually be doing this thing where they sit back and wait for have these waiting rounds where the equipment will build up, allowing you to use it in the next round or in the later round. You let it build up, and this could actually just mean that we see some very, very slow rounds, some very boring rounds from players, because it'd be the right thing to do. If you're going to wait on it loading up, you wait as long as possible so you can get it as soon as possible to try and get some rounds under your belt. I think realistically, I would like to see it in there every single round, so then it makes it consistent across the board. Everybody then has one at the beginning of the round, and it's a fair playing ground. Also, I think that this will negate away from that idea that everyone's going to be 5-man in a bomb site. If you've got a stun or not a flash, of course, but if you've got a stun or a grenade to slow things down, then that's going to stop happening, and that needs to be available every single round to make sure that teams aren't able to just 5-man bomb sites, get a hold of the bomb, and that's it. And then we're going to see that every single round. I did have another point on this one. I mean, look, it adds a bit of randomness about it, doesn't it, if it's not enabled every single time. So hopefully we can see that come in. All right, that was it. Tac Mask definitely needs buffed before this happens, though, because concussions are currently very, very strong. Tac Mask doesn't even actually do a lot about it either. So hopefully we see a Tac Mask buff as well. So I've got this all typed out in front of me. I've been sitting here writing it out for the majority of the day. My points, trying to get them across. Let's move in to specialists. I think for the majority, they're actually all right. I think realistically, the only ones I want to see taken out, and I've got the screen up here, is IX. So he's obviously the one with the ballistic shield and the 9-bag. The 9-bag is amazingly strong. I said if there was a Tac Mask buff, I wouldn't actually mind that too much. But the main problem is his ballistic shield. It doesn't really have too much of a counter, let's be honest. You can't really do much. If you see a pro with that as well, they use it very, very effectively. And the thing is, you can shoot through it as well. So he becomes invulnerable, and then he can shoot you with a pistol through it as well. So, I mean, for me, it's just, it's horribly broken, and I don't know what their fix is going to be on this one, but I'd be very surprised if that one slips the net to get into competitive. Let's go through them. So battery, I think it's fine. I think the War Machine's pretty decent, but it's not totally overpowered. In somebody's hands who's strong with it, it could be good, but it's not really too powerful. It's strong, but it's not amazing. Her cluster grenade's good, but I mean, it's just a grenade. It's, as said, I would like to see that available on every life potentially, but I'm not 100% sure on the special issue equipment, more so just normal frags and normal stuns, that sort of thing. Crash is Assault Pack, yeah, fine, that's fine for me. Tech 5, the weapon that gives everybody health, I think that's an essential one that we'll see in here. That's going to help for kills, etc. Firebreak, the Purifier, absolutely fine with that. The Reactor Core, not fine with it. You can't be setting people on fire through walls. I think that there's nothing competitive about that. There's nothing you can do to counteract that. And then on top of that, when you set them on fire, you can't heal. So not only have you been hit through a wall that you can't do anything about, but you can't heal, so then it's just going to be easy breaks and it's going to be impossible. Nomad, K9 is super strong, don't get me wrong. I'd like to see a little bit of a nerf to that, but realistically, it takes a long time to get it, so I'm okay with that. The Mesh Mines as well are okay. You can easily see them, that sort of thing, so I'm not too concerned about Mesh Mines so far. Prophet, Tempest, maybe even needs a little bit of buff, if anything. The Seeker isn't too bad. You can get rid of it fairly quickly. Recon with Vision Pulse and Sensor Darts. People would argue Sensor Darts is not something you want to see in competitive, and I would agree, but I don't think it's the worst thing in the world. And Vision Pulse, yes, okay, it gives you the ability to see where everybody is, but it's also not to the point of where you get it too often. So it's not too bad. Ruin with the Grapple Gun and Grav Slam, fine with both of those. Annihilator on the Seraph is good. I don't want to see the Tac deploy in competitive, I'll be honest. It just messes up the spawns too much, and it just puts another random thing in there that's going to make things hard to predict. Talk needs to go. I mean, you can't have Barricade in there. It's a Guardian with a Barricade in. Okay, I think if it wasn't as strong, I wouldn't be too opposed to it, but my main issue with Talk is that bloody barbed wire why does it kill you? Okay, if it slows you down, fair enough, but the fact that it like takes 10 health every second, I've died from razor wire more times than I've seen it, and for me, I think it's just far too strong, and it takes too much to get rid of. I mean, if you can go up to it and beat it down a couple of times, it would realistically get rid of it. Let's be honest, these guys could literally pick this up. They are future soldiers. They could pick this razor wire up and just throw it away, or like hit it with something that gets rid of it. It's completely, I mean, I was going to say unrealistic. Have you seen the game? It's not a realistic game. But yeah, for me, I don't want to see it. I don't like the idea of razor wire in competitive. And I think that actually might be it. Stim was the last one I was going to talk about. So obviously I don't want to see armor in here. I think armor just needs to go. I don't think anybody really wants to see armor. But as far as Stim is concerned, I think you can heal up far too easily and far too quickly. I would like to see Stim and armor both not allowed. The healing mechanic is good, and it brings something different to Call of Duty. But Stim is one of these things where you can continue to peak things and not be punished for it, because you can heal yourself so quickly. That's the problem. You can heal yourself quickly, and then it's back up instantly. So you can peek, get shot, heal up. Wait a few seconds, peek, get shot, heal up. and you're not being punished for anything. So I think Stim is either going to need a nerf because it's far too quick, or it just needs to be removed from competitive. Guys, that are my thoughts. Those are my thoughts so far on the game. Overall, though, I am actually loving it. I can't wait for Vegas. I've played it so much, and I've never actually had this much fun in Call of Duty Publix, apart from when I'm trying to get headshots with the can. I mean, that is difficult. The SMGs, I don't even want to talk about it. But at the same time, overall, really enjoying the game. I hope you guys are too. Thank you very much for watching. Please leave a like on the video. It would mean a lot to us, and a subscription would mean even more. Guys, we will see you on the next video.